Give me a quick round of applause for Rare Evo, for Charles Hoskinson, and all the speakers speaking at this conference. Let's go. So, that was about a 7. We need to get the energy up in this room. By a round of applause, who here is excited for the next crypto bull run? There we go. There we go. That's more like Sin City. I love to hear it. So by a show of hands, who here knows what an Android is? Everyone, there's iPhones and Androids. Everyone knows what an Android is, right? And you know what an Android is because of this man that's about to come on the stage right now, the CMO of Algorand, Marc Vanlerberghe. Perfect. All right. So, Marc, you're the CMO of Algorand now. But first of all, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I feel honored to be invited into this community here.
Sure. Amazing. Yes. So you're the CMO of Algorand now, but previously in your career, you were instrumental in making Android a globally recognized brand. And not many people can say that they have had that kind of success with global marketing. So I want to know, what was the meat and potatoes of your strategy with Android?
Yeah. So, well, before I take full credit of the success of all of Android for the past 10 years, let me just say this. Android, to begin with, was a great product. And so at Google, we had this expression, when you talk about marketing, the role of marketing is to bring the toys to the kids. And so we had great toys to begin with. And so we had great stuff to work with. But yeah, from a marketing perspective, the role was really to bring awareness and visibility to Android all over the world. And so our strategy was really focused on 2 things. One is to have a very strong, differentiated, strategic narrative that would resonate and that would set Android apart from iPhone, of course. And so that was the first thing. And so we focused heavily on open versus iPhone closed. We focused heavily on choice. You can buy a big Android phone, a small one, from any OEM that you want, versus iPhone you could only buy from Apple. And then the third one was innovation and all the Google innovation that was brought together. So strategic narrative was the first key thing that we did. And the second thing was really heavily focused on the community of developers, the community of builders, and the community of hardcore Android fans. And we called it the Android Army. And our Android Army would go to battle against iPhone. And so every single time Apple would launch a new feature, the Android Army would swoop in and say, well, that feature has been on Android for 2 years. And so that was really the core to our success.
So the obvious follow-up question here is, you've had success with Android. How do you plan to replicate that success with Algorand?
So in a way, it's quite similar, right? I think it's you have the community of the developers and the builders, and the success of Algorand really depends on the vibrancy of the ecosystem and the apps that are being developed. And so from a marketing perspective for Algorand, we're going to invest heavily in attracting new developers and new builders to our platform and really growing that ecosystem. And that's the core of basically our marketing. But the second part is also the strategic positioning and the strategic narrative. And so at Algorand, we really heavily focused on this idea of enabling solutions at real-world scale. And like with Android, we feel we have a great product, right? So we started with a product that is not in beta, and a product that doesn't go down, and a product that doesn't have high failure rates, and a product that has instant finality and has all the things that you need to deliver a Web3 app for the real world at real world scale. So it starts with that, and that's where we're going from there.
Yeah, and marketing just in general is not easy at all. And I'm sure at Android, you've had some bumps in the road. And with marketing, you try, you fail, you try, you fail, and eventually, so my question is, when the ship goes sideways or when people become unsure, what is your go-to strategy?
Well, I think it's like with any entrepreneurial projects, right? I think you need to have perseverance as an entrepreneur. You really have to see you have to see in the future, and you have to have a strong belief of where you're going. And specifically in the case of Algorand, for instance, we have a very strong mission. And our mission statement is to power a world where information has integrity and innovative solutions can scale. And that, for us, is a really ambitious mission, and we're really keeping that kind of end goal in mind, and that keeps us going no matter what, like the token prices of the day. And so that's one thing. And the second thing is really the vibrancy of the ecosystem. It's like if you see what all these builders are building, what all of these app developers are building, it's quite amazing. And so that generates quite a bit of energy as well. And so those two things together are really exciting to kind of keep going and push forward.
Yeah, for sure. And we're at a crypto conference here, and I'm sure a lot of people in this room, there's projects building, someone building an NFT project or a meme coin, or someone out there that just wants to get more likes on their Twitter post. What, in one or two sentences, what's a quick, blanket market strategy that you would say to someone trying to get better at anything?
A market strategy in a box.
Yeah, in 2 sentences.
In 2 sentences. Well, I think the first thing, and I mentioned this a couple of times now, but strategic narratives are absolutely critical. And I think as a founder, as an entrepreneur, you have to know what it is that you're building. You need to be able to communicate this effectively. And you need to know where you stand in the world and how you differentiate. If you can't basically tell that story in 30 seconds or less, then you really have to focus and fine-tune that story until you got it absolutely perfect. That strategic narrative is absolutely critical. And then the second thing I would say from a marketing perspective, specifically in the crypto space, it's all about community building, right? And so you have to be authentic. And so coming across as an authentic marketer, as somebody who really says what he believes and is not trying to spin things. People always say like marketing is spin, but if you're using marketing spin, you're not doing it the right way. Like marketing shouldn't be about the spin, right? Authenticity is a really core component of what you should be doing.
And what I really like about what the marketing strategy with Algorand has been, we're at a crypto conference now, but just earlier this summer, Algorand was the only crypto project at a developer conference in Berlin. Yeah. So kind of tell me about, the attempt in mainstreaming blockchain development and why developers are your target demographic.
Yeah, so developers for us are our core demographic, because we believe that if you're going to mainstream blockchain, you have to get the developers over to your side, specifically the Web2 developers. And so from a developer perspective, we actually have a dual strategy. One is with regards to crypto developers. If you're a blockchain developer, right, and you're developing for, let's say, Ethereum, right, you have a hard job, right? It doesn't scale the way it's supposed to scale. Gas fees are expensive. There's no instant finality. So in your software, if you're building financial settlement software, you have to do all kinds of tricks to make sure that if there's a rollback, that doesn't cause any problems for you. And there's no atomic swaps. So you have to build all of these things yourselves. And so we had a project recently that moved over from Ethereum to us, and they told us that 30 to 50% of their engineering resources was spent on blockchain stuff. And if you're like, okay, any type of SaaS company, any kind of tech company, and the CTO comes to you and says, I'm spending 50% of my resources on integrating with Oracle, that CTO is going to get fired.
That's insane.
Right? That's just insane, right? So they moved over to Algorand, and because Algorand has all of these things built in, like atomic swaps and multi-sig and instant finality, now they're spending roughly 5% of their engineering resources on blockchain stuff. And that's kind of the right percentage, right? So that's one message that we're trying to get out there. But the second message and the bigger message is really beyond existing blockchain developers. There's about 30,000 blockchain developers in the world. There's 7 million Python developers. There's more than 10 million TypeScript developers. And so if you really want to mainstream things, you have to basically get those folks interested. And so that's really what our main target is. And so that's why we've developed native Python support, native TypeScript support. And that's how we're positioning Algorand also as an infrastructure piece, as a piece of a tech stack. So if you're a Web2 developer, you should be thinking of Algorand as an operating system, as a piece in your technology stack. And now we make it as easy as possible for those people to kind of on-ramp onto our platform.
Yeah. It has been a big year for Algorand in terms of technical advancements, announcements, and everything. And this isn't the first time we've spoke this year. We had an interview at Decipher in Barcelona. Great time, by the way. And there was a lot of announcements that rolled out during Decipher. And the one that spoke to me was Coinbase with the Quest, like really helping people go on chain with Algorand. Like, where are we with that announcement since the last time we spoke?
So we get to do these interviews in nice locations, right? First Barcelona, and now Vegas. Where's the next one going to be?
Wherever you want, let me know. I love it.
So yeah, so we're going to launch a Coinbase Quest in September, actually. And the whole idea behind the Quest is to get more people to experience the power of Algorand. And so it's not going to be a Quest where you watch a video and then you answer a quiz and then we'll drop you some algos. No, the idea is we'll get you to experience it. We'll get you to download our Para wallet. We'll get you to do a swap with Tinyman. We'll get you to participate in the lending pool with Volksfinance. And so we'll let you experience the power of Algorand. And so that's what we're going to go after, and that's what we're going to push for.
Amazing. So every time I do an interview like this, I always do a giveaway on Twitter, and I say to my audience, hey, if you, given the opportunity, if you could ask, Marc from Algorand, anything you want, what would it be? All right, and so the winner of this giveaway, they get credit, is at K Blockchain, and they get $250 in Algorand. K's question was, this not word for word, but it's basically, there's been a lot of technical advancements with Algorand this year, from incentivization to post-quantum readiness. And how does the team plan to balance that in DeFi and with the tokenization of real-world assets? So the question's basically, RWAs on Algorand, and is the real world ready for blockchain?
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, yes, we're very excited about some of the new launches that we're planning for the end of the year, and specifically node incentivization. That's a fundamentally big change for Algorand, because Algorand didn't have a reward system for staking algos and for participating in node running. And so it's a fundamental change in our protocol. And the reason why we do it, obviously, is because we want more people to stake their algos, and we want more people to run the nodes, because it's going to further secure the network and enhance the network. And we think it's going to be a great success also because running a node in Algorand is super, super simple. For instance, I'm running a node in my home, and it's running on a 10-year-old Mac Pro. And it works perfectly, and it's super, super easy, and it's kind of one of the nice things about the Algorand protocol. But so that's one part. So we're very excited about launching that towards the end of the year. And then the second part of the question around real-world assets. I think for me this is like one of the biggest kind of opportunities that we have with blockchain, and I kind of look at real-world assets in two ways. There's the assets that are traceable and the assets that are tradable. Right. And let me explain for a second. So the traceable ones, that basically hints at supply chain, type of use cases. And we have I don't know how many, we have 10, 15 supply chain companies that are running on Algorand and are doing stuff like in the real world and are really, really, so we have this company that's basically tracking Italian cheese. And so the Italian cheese needs to be protected in order to call the cheese by its name. The milk from the cows have to come from a particular region in Italy, and so we're tracking from milk production of cows,
I love that,
all the way to the cheese, using a blockchain to be able to prove that the cheese is actually the real cheese, right? And so there's so many kind of supply chain applications that are currently running. There's, Lavazza is tracking coffee beans all the way from farmers in Cuba until you actually buy the package in the store, so you can actually track publicly, which farmer was actually producing the coffee beans that you're about to have. And so we have, supply chain companies that are doing carbon insets, we have supply chain companies in gas and oil, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the first aspect of real-world assets. The second aspect are the tradable ones, the assets that you typically tokenize and that you can trade. And so, again, so many companies that are doing that, I'll give you one example. TravelX, I'm not sure if you've heard the company, is a company that's tokenizing airline tickets. So they've tokenized millions, roughly, I think it's over 10 million now, airline tickets. And so what that means is they create a secondary market for airline tickets. So you can buy an airline ticket, and then you can sell it. You can sell it to your friend, you can give it to your daughter, you can basically do whatever you want with it because you own it. It's minted as an NFT, so you do whatever you want with it. And so there's no airline that's going to say, well, you can't sell, you can't resell. There's no airlines going to say, I'm going to charge you $100 to kind of resell your airline ticket. None of that. So it's completely creating a completely new market that didn't exist before, that adds significant utility to people. And so many examples of tokenized assets. We have, tokenizing gold, money market funds, etc. We have agricultural commodities that are being tokenized and then used as collateral to get microfinancing. So many opportunities there as well. So very excited.
I feel like the world is certainly ready for blockchain then.
It is happening. And that's the thing, like, despite all of the FUD that's happening and all of the uncertainty in the blockchain world in the US, we also have to think about this is a bigger market than the US alone. Like, there's a whole world out there, and we see lots of these opportunities having real impact everywhere in the world. And the US is kind of a little bit behind in that regard because of all the issues that we know of with regulation, but like, it is happening everywhere, and it's super, super exciting to see.
I love it. So, you know, my job here, I do have to dig for the alpha. Yeah, it's my job. I will squeeze it out of you if I have to. I'm joking. But, you know, I don't know if I've heard a rumor, but I don't know if you're allowed to answer this question or not. So maybe like blink once for yes, twice for no. The rumor I heard is it true that Algorand is getting into AI?
Okay, what can I say about that? Let me think.
He blinked once.
Blink once. So, I mean, first of all, I mean, we're like, all these activities, all these initiatives, they're all kind of bottoms up, right? They're all driven by our ecosystem. They're driven by our projects. So it's not like the foundation will come in and say, we will have an AI strategy and here are the things we're going to do. No, it's all kind of bottoms up. And so so there's lots of projects that are actually working on AI related stuff. And so let me give you a couple of examples. So one area where we see a lot of activity is around the veracity of information, right? It's more the impact of AI. Like, how do you know that an image is real, right? When it hasn't been doctored by AI. And so we have this company, very interesting. So what they're doing is they're including blockchain technology straight into the image platforms. The platform, the scanner that generates the image, the blockchain technology is integrated straight into the hardware. And so the moment an image is taken, a hash of that image is stored on a blockchain. So that image is now, you know, immutable. And so there's a track, and you can basically track what happens to that image. And if the image is doctored, you'll know because the hash won't match up. So that's one area, the veracity of information, where we see a lot of initiatives. The second one is, I think, where AI can help blockchain. Like, we have an LLM. One of our projects is running an LLM that allows you to query the blockchain. You ask it questions like, okay, give me the balance of this account, or tell me what the last 5 transactions are on this account. And so it's basically a conversational interface that allows you to query the blockchain and get any information that you want from it. And so this is, of course, the first step. And the next step is that the agent will be able to take actions, right? So you could be able to say, I have 500 algos, I want to invest it in a DeFi protocol, I want to get a minimum return of 5%, and I want to have minimized risk, you know, go ahead and invest at the lowest possible risk. So that's obviously the next step there.
Wow.
And I think the third category is more where blockchain can help AI, right? That's where the deep-in networks fit, you know, sharing GPU resources or decentralized training of models, making AI models more censorship resistant using blockchain. So that's kind of the third category of activities.
Amazing. So that's really good news, because like we said in the beginning with Android, it's like strategic narratives, and for that, it's certainly great to hear that Algorand is eventually going to really spin into AI. That's amazing. So I do want to talk about the commercials. I love the commercials. Algorand went viral with that first commercial. That was amazing. Walk me through the process on like how that got going.
I wonder if anybody has seen that commercial, the supermarket commercial. Has anyone seen
Raise your hand
that?
if you saw the supermarket commercial.
Yes,
okay,
there we go.
We got a bunch. Love it.
Okay, great. So the whole idea is, so this is actually funny because, you know, I started fairly recently at the foundation. I started in March of this year. So, and I was like 2 weeks in, and I was engaging with the community and talking to them and like, you know, getting feedback from them. And so one of our community members, Governor Hat, a very prominent member of our community, sent me a tweet and said, a public tweet, and said, like, Mark, this is a serious script. Please read the script, and it would be great if you could turn it into a video. And I looked at the script, and it was the script for the supermarket commercial, right? And so I looked at this like, that's actually pretty cool. We should go do this. And so we found a small crew in New York. We didn't wrap any private jets, but we found a small crew in New York who could do this. Very low cost us like $20,000 or something. And so we shot this video, and then we launched it, and it kind of broke crypto Twitter. Like it's like
It
it went completely bananas.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, obviously my job here is to dig and dig for the alpha. When are we going to see a new ad?
Well, why don't we premiere the next one right here?
Right here, right now?
Right here.
Let's do it.
Shall we do
Let's
it?
do it.
Okay.
Roll the tape.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, you take Bitcoin?
Sure do.
Is Ethereum okay?
Sure is. Hey, how you doing today?
Good. You take Solana?
Of course.
All right, I'll take a vanilla cone.
Can I get a vanilla cone? 2 cones coming right up. Tap right here for me.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Oh, it actually didn't go through. Whoa. It's gonna take about 27 minutes before Bitcoin confirms.
How is that fair?
That'll be 61.40. Go ahead and tap right here.
For ice cream?
Gas prices. You guys know that though. Try it one more time for me.
No problem. How about now?
No. Oh man. Sorry, it's a little melting here. I got it for you.
You got it.
Nope, I don't. You gonna buy?
There you go.
One more time. Oh, it's really good. Should have shopped with Algorand.
Now?
Nope.
And we're also doing a $1,000 giveaway for anyone in the AlgoFam who wants to. You'll see it on Twitter. There's a $1,000 giveaway that's attached to this ad. So if you want to head over to Twitter in the next 20, 30 minutes, then it will be there. But with that said, Mark, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming out. Rare Evo, we love you guys. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.